Hey everyone, Gardner here. Fun Fact Friday. It's Friday. Woo! Should be a fuck yeah Fun Fact Friday because it's Friday. I'm a little jacked up. It's been a while. It's been a few weeks since I shared some fun facts. I don't know why I'm laughing at myself. Some fun facts about me. Today is about a road trip that I took. A lot of this ties into my book. And some of this is definitely will be in the book, but I just thought I'd share with you today. I don't know what it is being American. Many Americans have this fantasy about driving across the country, right? And of course, the adventurer and freedom seeker in me did have his fantasy of that as well. Most people go Route 66. Most people take the southern way, and you know, there's this big romantic notion of getting on Route 66, and you know, like the old movies, and you know, the top down in the car, you got your girl next to you in the sundress, and you're just going through the desert and stopping at a 2-pump gas station, and then you're driving a little bit longer, you pull over and you start slow dancing on the side of the road. And Route 66, I did not go that way. I went the northern route. Why did I go the northern route? So at the time when I was leaving New York to move to Los Angeles, my ex and I, my ex now, my partner and I at the time, we packed up our Jeep Liberty full to the brim, and we left New England, and we took the northern route, mainly because I just felt called to go to the Dakotas. I wanted to go to the Badlands. Don't know why. Probably because it's a badass name. It's kind of this, another last frontier place or kind of myth. So we drove, I don't know, we probably drove about 8 hours a day. We made our way. When we got into the Dakotas and the Black Hills and the land of the Sioux Indians and all that Native culture, Native American culture was absolutely stunning. And this is what I love, because there was no grand plan, right? It was just like, we're going to go here and then we're going to go south, right? We're going to go across north and then south to the Grand Canyon and then to LA. We're driving and all of a sudden out of nowhere is this nondescript little town. I think it's actually called I should know this because it's in my book. I just can't remember. 1880 town. And it's a makeshift old Western little museum style sideshow thing on the road, on the side of the road, that had a lot of the Dances with Wolves movie memorabilia and movie things in there, which was a favorite of mine when I was younger. I love that movie. I still do. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, well, we got to go here. So we banged a right. We go in there and walking around, and there's different things, but there's a lot of the clothing and the costumes and the wardrobe. And it was really cool though, as we went out back, and there's Buck, the horse, the famous horse in the film, the one that Kevin Costner rode across the battlefield in the opening, that famous opening shot where his arms are up and he's basically wants the enemy to shoot him. And towards the end of the movie, the horse is always with him throughout the movie. And then of course the horse gets killed towards the end. And so here was this magnificent old horse just sitting there. And it was really just a great moment. It was just one of those things you'd never expected. Right. So that was a really neat thing. I got to feed the horse from the movie some hay and so forth. And then we kept driving, and of course we stopped at the Badlands, and it was amazing just an amazing array of geographical rock outcrops. It's hard to describe this kind of white, dusty gray. It's not just white. It's like a whitish gray, dusty rocks everywhere. It looked like it looked like the surface of the moon. It was pretty fucking cool. And we said, hey, let's go to Deadwood. I was like, okay, because back in 2003, maybe? I think just the year before, like Deadwood was that HBO series that was actually getting a lot of acclaim. It was one of the first kind of series that came on and kind of elevated the whole cable TV scheme of programming. And we drove into this town, and like if you blinked when you drove by it, you'd miss it. And like we kind of did. We drove by it, and we realized that the town is on the other side of this big kind of row of buildings. So we went back around, and when you walk around the street and get into the main part of Deadwood, it was still one of the most amazing places I've ever been. You're walking down the street. There's saloons. There's gambling places. Everyone's got the saloon doors. There's restaurants, and it's literally like it's out of the gold mine era. In the late 1800s. You go in and you got the dusty wood creaking floors when you walk in, and of course you got to walk in there and you got to go whiskey, because you have to say that. It's like whiskey too. And then we would sit down and they'd have $2 blackjack games. It was awesome. Like we'd spent the whole late afternoon there, and of course we were like, well, we're not leaving this place, so we went and got a hotel and we spent the night in Deadwood and spent the whole next day there. Got to see where Wild Bill Hickok was shot when he pulled the dead man's hand, and it was amazing. So again, some of the most amazing moments happen when we don't plan them, which is just magical. Let's see. Well, so Deadwood was amazing. We headed to the Devil's Tower. We saw the Devil's Tower, which was famous from, of course, Close Encounters of the 13th Kind, right? That big thing there. And then we started to head down, and Michael, how you doing there, Big Mike? We started to head down, and there was a stretch of highway, and it was eerie. It was about 7:00 at night. It was just starting to get that kind of golden hour, and out there's no one on the road. And you're kind of doing, I don't know, probably we were doing 90 miles an hour or something like that, right? And all of a sudden, though, in this one stretch, and there was nothing but grassland on either side, right? There's all these they look like pancakes. They look like pancakes on the highway, and you're seeing them up in front of you, and you're like, and I'm telling her, I'm like, what the hell is this? And sure as shit, what's what's happening is they're all these rabbits. They're just jackrabbits. They're rabbits. And as you're going down this highway, like bat out of hell, they just dart everywhere. Like it was insane. It was like this mass exodus. And of course, you can't swerve, because then you're fucked, right? You're gonna go in a ditch, right? You're gonna go into the grass field. So you just hunker down, and we had this stretch, and I swear it was probably about 3 miles long of the straightaway, and it was just like we're like booking it, and it's like da-dunk, and it's just like fuck, like it was horrible. It was horrible, and like we would just share these looks, and so it was literally, we actually called it the Rabbit Graveyard. That's what we called it for a lot of years after that. And eventually we got we made it through the Rabbit Graveyard. We finally got down. This is a total dork Jim move here, but or Jimmy G, as Mike will say. We had to go to Albuquerque. So we had to, because we wanted to get to the Grand Canyon, right? But we had to go to Albuquerque first, because I grew up with Bugs Bunny talking about Albuquerque. And I needed to know, I should have made that turn at Albuquerque, right? Like, so we went there, there's nothing really to see too much in Albuquerque, but we had a nice beer. We actually did go horseback riding in Albuquerque though. Then we made our way to Sedona, the Red Rocks of Sedona, and and we opted for a biplane ride. Why? Because I don't know. Maybe we felt like Snoopy in Woodstock. I have no idea, but we had the leather helmets on, we had the scarf, we had the goggles. True story. And we thought we were going to die. Literally, we thought we were going to die. Like, these are one of those things you look back and you're like, I'm all about adventure. And then when we kind of were debriefing after it, we're like, that plane looked like it was held together with duct tape. The pilot looked like he was 3 sheets to the wind and probably hadn't bathed in like 2 weeks. And we're up there and the thing's just dropping. And oh my God, I thought we were both going to get sick. But it was amazing. It was amazing. Somewhere there's actually a videotape somewhere. I think I even may have it of the camera on us during the flight, which is actually cool. So we got that as a souvenir. So we made it out of that, and we arrived at the majestic Grand Canyon, which honestly, there are no words. There are no words for the Grand Canyon. For those of you, for those of us lucky enough to stand at the rim of greatness, it was amazing, and it made it special for us too because it was getting close to sunset, and it was very powerful moment. So there it is. There's my little trek across. We landed we ended up in Palm Springs, so we were staying there at her parents' place there for a little bit while we were getting situated to get a place in LA. And I think we took about 9 days total for that trip, and it was amazing. So I thought I would share some of those tidbits with you on this Fun Fact Friday. And a lot of that's going to be in the book, of course. And just felt like sharing, just felt like having some fun, reliving some good memories at the end of the week. Mad love to the courageous. I trust you all had an epic, amazing week yourselves, and we will talk soon.